Michael, here's something I've been thinking about. Why is it that when you're speaking English, you're always translating in your head, but when native speakers talk, they just talk?
Oh man, that's exactly the problem. I notice it all the time with English learners. They'll be in the middle of a sentence and you can literally see them thinking, wait, how do I say this in English?
Exactly. And then they pause and the conversation just feels awkward. So, what's actually happening in your brain when you're translating?
Well, your brain is working in two languages at the same time. You're thinking of the idea in your native language first, then you're translating it word by word into English. It's exhausting.
So native speakers don't do that?
Not really. They think directly in English. They hear something and an English response comes out immediately. No translation needed.
But how do they do that? Is it just time?
It's time, but it's also how you practice. Most English learners study by translating. They learn vocabulary and translation lists. They study grammar rules in their native language. So, of course, their brain stays stuck translating.
So what do you do differently?
You have to train your brain to think in English. And honestly, it's easier than people think. You just need to change how you practice.
Okay, I'm listening. How do you start?
The first thing is stop translating. When you're learning a new word, don't learn it with a translation. Learn it with an image, a situation, or a feeling.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, let's say you learn the word frustrated. Don't memorize it as frustrated equals my native word. Instead, think of a moment when you felt frustrated. Picture it. Remember how it felt. That connection between the feeling and the English word is way stronger.
So you're connecting the English word directly to the experience, not to another language?
Exactly. That's when your brain starts thinking in English instead of translating. The word becomes its own thing. It doesn't need a translation.
That makes sense. But what about when you actually speak? Like in a real conversation, you can't always picture everything.
True. That's the second part. You have to practice speaking out loud without translating. Like right now in this conversation, I'm not translating. I'm thinking in English.
Wait, really? You're a native speaker. That's different.
I know, but here's the thing. Even non-native speakers can get there, but it requires a different kind of practice. Most people study in silence. They read, they memorize, they do grammar exercises. That's all fine. But if you want to think in English, you have to speak.
Speak without preparation?
Yes, that's the whole thing. You have to put yourself in situations where you can't translate, where you have to respond immediately.
Like what kind of situations?
Speaking with native speakers, for one. If you're in a real conversation with a native speaker, you don't have time to translate. Your brain figures it out. It gets faster. It adapts.
But that's scary. What if you don't know what to say?
Then you say something simpler. You stumble. You make mistakes, and that's okay. Actually, that's when the real learning happens. When you're uncomfortable, your brain is actively building new pathways.
So basically, you're saying the people who improve the fastest are the ones who put themselves in situations where they can't rely on translation?
Exactly. Think about kids learning a language. They don't translate. They just hear something and they respond. They're not thinking, wait, what's the grammar rule? They're just speaking.
So we need to become like kids?
Kind of. You need that same fearlessness, but you also have the advantage of adult learning, so you can be more intentional about it.
Okay, so let's get practical. If someone is listening right now and they want to stop translating, what's one thing they can do this week?
Start thinking about your day in English, not writing it down, just thinking. When you wake up, think, I'm going to have coffee. When you're driving, think about the traffic. When you're eating lunch, describe the taste in English.
So you're narrating your life in English?
Yes, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, your brain needs practice thinking in English without any pressure to perform or communicate.
So it's like training wheels for thinking in English?
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it.
What else? What's the next level?
Once you're thinking in English, start speaking to yourself. Record voice memos. Talk about your day, your opinions, whatever. Then listen back. You'll start hearing your patterns. You'll notice what sounds natural and what sounds forced.
I've done that. It feels weird at first.
So weird, but it works. You're creating a dialogue with yourself in English. Your brain starts recognizing patterns. It starts predicting what comes next.
That's interesting. So you're basically training your brain to be predictive?
Exactly. Native speakers' brains are incredibly predictive. They hear a few words and their brain knows what's probably coming next. That's why they can respond quickly without translating.
How long does that take? Like, how long until you're actually thinking in English?
That depends on so many things, but if you're practicing every day, actually speaking, thinking out loud, you can start feeling it in weeks.
Weeks? Really?
Well, you won't be perfect, but you'll notice that your brain is responding faster. The pause between hearing and speaking gets shorter, the translation step gets quieter.
What does it feel like when you finally cross that line, when you're not translating anymore?
It feels like relief. Honestly, for the first time, English doesn't feel like a code you're decoding. It feels like a language you're living in.
That's beautiful, actually.
And here's the crazy thing. Your accent usually improves too. When you're translating, you sound stiff and careful. When you're thinking in English, your rhythm changes. Your intonation becomes more natural.
So not translating fixes, like, everything?
Not everything, but it fixes a lot. Fluency, confidence, accent, speed, it all gets better when your brain isn't working in two languages.
Okay, so I want to circle back to the listening side. How do you understand native speakers better without translating?
Same concept. Most people listen to English and they translate everything back to their native language. The problem is, by the time they've translated a sentence, the native speaker is already 3 sentences ahead.
So you have to keep up by not translating?
Right, you have to listen and understand directly without the middle step. And that means listening to a lot of English. Podcasts, shows, conversations, everything.
But if you don't understand something, do you just miss it?
At first, yeah. But here's what happens. Your brain starts catching context clues. It fills in the gaps. It learns not to panic about every single word.
I notice that happens with movies. The first time I watch without subtitles, I'm lost. But the second or third time, I understand so much more.
Exactly. Your brain is learning without conscious effort. It's finding patterns. It's training itself to predict what comes next.
So basically, the secret to not translating is just doing it, practicing without translation?
Pretty much. Stop translating in vocabulary lists. Stop translating when you speak. Stop translating when you listen. It feels weird at first, but your brain adapts. It's designed to adapt.
What's the biggest mistake people make when they're trying to stop translating?
They go back to translation when it gets hard. When a conversation gets complicated or they don't understand something, they slip back into translating. But that just reinforces the old pattern.
So you have to push through that uncomfortable zone?
Yes, but you don't have to do it perfectly. You can mix it in. Like, mostly think in English, but if you need to translate one word, that's okay. You're still training your brain in the right direction.
Is there anything that makes it easier? Like, are some contexts better for learning to think in English?
Definitely. Talking about things you care about is easier. If you're passionate about music, talk about music. If you love cooking, describe recipes. When you're interested, your brain engages more. The translation barrier drops.
That makes sense. It's hard to stay interested if you're just practicing random phrases.
Right. So choose topics that matter to you. Your brain will thank you.
Okay, so if someone starts this week, starts thinking in English about their day, starts speaking to themselves, what can they expect?
They'll probably feel a little awkward. Their speech might be messier. They might make more mistakes at first because they're not translating and checking everything.
That sounds like it could get worse before it gets better.
It might feel that way, but it's actually progress. You're building a new pathway in your brain. Once you strengthen that English thinking pathway, everything clicks into place.
So the awkward phase is actually a good sign?
Exactly. Embrace the awkwardness. That's your brain rewiring itself.
What about people who are already pretty fluent? Does this apply to them too?
Absolutely. Even advanced learners often translate. It's a hard habit to break. And if you stop translating at an advanced level, that's when you really sound and feel like a native speaker.
Like native level fluency?
Yeah. The difference between advanced and near native is usually the translation step. Advanced speakers still have it. Near native speakers don't.
That's a really clear way to think about it. So, to recap, to stop translating, you basically need to think in English, speak in English without translating, listen without translating, and practice it constantly?
That's it. No translations, English in, English out. Your brain does the work.
And honestly, that's kind of freeing. Like, you stop worrying about getting it perfect because you're not stopping to translate anyway.
Exactly. Perfection is irrelevant. The goal is fluency. And fluency comes from thinking and speaking without that extra step.